Hello, it's Friday, February 28th, 2020. This is episode 366. This is We Live on a Planet. I'm your host, Patrick. How are you doing? Thank you for joining me. Little MASH theme. That was a good show. MASH brings back a lot of good memories for me. We'll talk a little bit more about MASH later in the show in this day of history. Currently, the temperatures are 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Feels like 9 degrees. Highs are only going to be about 24 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll tell you, though, we had a storm come through the other day with a no travel ban. The mayor issued a no travel ban in the city of Oswego. And the winds, oh my gosh, the winds. Yeah. Thank you for that. The winds were up to about 60 miles per hour, that heavy, wet snow. And right now the winds are currently out of the west, southwest at 29 miles per hour. And we got a good show for you, so stick around. When we come back, we'll dive right into our quote and then all kinds of other stuff and things. Stick around, we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. All right, let's start off. Holy cow. Yeah, it's not that. Okay, move forward with confidence, knowing in the core of your being that you have the power to achieve your dreams. Move forward with confidence, knowing in the core of your being that you have the power to achieve your dreams. If you're struggling today, or even sometimes the struggle is just getting out of bed. It really is. I can relate, and I feel you. But, move forward with confidence just for today. Just live for today anyways. That's all we have. We don't have any redos. And you have that power. You can do it.
You can do it!
You can do it. I know you can. I have faith in you. Yeah, so like I said, that storm came through. That was not fun. Not fun. It wasn't as much as they had hoped, or not hoped, as they had thought. And I'm glad it wasn't as much as they thought, because I wasn't hoping for any. Out like a lion, that's for sure. We had a really mild winter, though, so I can't complain too much about that. I'm excited, though. I've got, obviously, if you follow the show, you know that I'm going to be traveling to Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I'm excited about that. And I've been waiting to hear from them to find out exactly when I was going to be going. And, what do we got there? What do you got in your little cloven hoof for me? Oh, thank you. Go say hello to your mother for me. It's my ticket. March 6th. I'm heading out. It's going to be a long day, though. My flight leaves like at 6:15 in the morning out of Syracuse. Then I have to stop in Washington. And then from D.C. to Chapel Hill. And then I fly back out from Chapel Hill to LaGuardia back to Syracuse, all in one day. And I'll fly back into Syracuse around 11 at night. I think I'll just be running on fumes, though. I'm looking forward to it so much, so I don't think I'll be tired. And even though I have to get up so early that morning to go to the airport, I'm only getting like 2 hours of sleep anyways. For some reason, I have to talk to my doctor because he gave me some sleeping medicine, and it doesn't seem to be really helping. And I'll go to bed. I'll feel tired. I'll go to bed, and after 2 hours of sleeping, I'll just pop right up, and I can't sleep, and I feel just really anxious and uneasy, and I have to get up, and then I'll get up, come downstairs, get some water, and then I'm like, I gotta go back to bed. It's too early, and so I'll try to go back to bed, and then that cycle continues, so I'll get up numerous times in the night, and I guess I would call it insomnia, I guess. It's kind of, I've never really had it this way to where I'm struggling to sleep this much. Oh my goodness. Okay, what are we gonna talk about? we'll probably, well, like normal, we'll head on over to the facts site. I love the facts site, the History Channel. Got some phone calls from you guys. We'll take some phone calls and other things. We'll just kind of do some more chatting. Stick around, grab yourself a nice beverage of choice, and
I'll be back.
yeah. That's how I feel. Absolutely none lately. No sleep. Oh well, that's okay. You're here with me, and so now I don't feel so tired. I'm not sleepy. That's the thing. Well, it doesn't make any sense. Oh, I ordered some business cards through Vistaprint. I'm excited about that. I couldn't beat the price. It was like $15 for 100 of them. You get to design your own. They had all kinds of templates and all kinds of card styles and stock. I got just the basic. I mean, you could have got rounded corners. You could have got this. You could have got that. You name it. And now all of a sudden you're not looking at that $15 mark. You're looking at a whole bunch more for something you're just going to be kind of handing out. I didn't want it to look cheap or anything, so it doesn't. I'm excited about getting that. I'm excited about this Sunday too. So if you're in the city of Oswego, New York, take a peek. Look for me at Paul's Big M is mostly where I'm going to be, and handing out my free reusable shopping totes starting March 1st here in not just the city of Oswego, everywhere in upstate New York and New York itself. No more plastic bags. So that's good. I think that's a good thing. A lot of people are going to be upset with it. People hate change. That's for sure. Change is never easy. Oh, we're getting a little bit of feedback, aren't we? There we go. I'm plugged in today. I got my headphones on. I feel like I'm an actual podcaster today. My oldest daughter got me headphones one year for Christmas, and they're nice ones. And I haven't bucked up and bought myself a nice microphone. I got just a cheap one I got from Amazon that plugs right in from the microphone to your phone. And usually I just use my phone. I have a Apple 10, I think. Yeah, 10. And it's fine. It works great. But my wife got me this acoustic foam sound barrier shield years ago too, when I first started podcasting. And it's just sitting here in the studios. And I've just been using the phone because my cord that I had for my microphone, since the mic was cheap, the cord was cheap, and it would crackle and be terrible. And if you remember if you've been following the show, those were, oh my gosh, we have what? This is 366 episodes. I can't even remember what episodes they were, but there was more than once I would get what I called crickets in the studio, because we would just hear all kinds of crackling and feedback, and some of you guys would just be like, just don't use it anymore. And so that's what I did. And not too long ago, when I won that Amazon gift card from Sticker Mule, it was $500 and Amazon Cash gift card. I thought about bucking up and there's a Shure MV51 microphone. It's $199. And I could buy it with that. And I guess I'm too cheap, and I like the ease of my phone. But I felt like using this today. So hopefully the sound quality is okay for you, and we'll go from there. All right, we are at the facts site, and I want to share some interesting facts about Alabama. Yeah, and you're like, huh? All of a sudden you're like, why Alabama? Why not? I've never been to Alabama. Did I drive through Alabama? I don't even know if I've driven through Alabama before. If you're from Alabama, some of these facts you might know, some of them you might not know, and now you'll be able to be educated about it. And I thought it was interesting enough to share it with you. It's unofficially named the Yellowhammer State, the Cotton State, in the heart of Dixie. Alabama was the 22nd state to join the USA on December 14th, 1819. It has a population of 4.8 million, making it the 24th most populous state. Alabama is bordered by the states of Florida, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Georgia, with a total, well, of course, then I've driven through it. I've been to Georgia and everything. Hello, Patrick. With a total of 52,419 square miles, or for my friends that use the metric system, which are almost everybody, we're the only ones that don't here in America, that's 135,000 plus kilometers. What's the kilometers with the little 2? What does that mean? Is that like the square miles? I don't know. Of land and water. It's the 30th largest state. Wow. That's enough of the hard facts, though. Let's take a peek at some of the facts that shed some real light on Alabama. Alabama used to be covered in grassland. Grasslands. Yeah, when the Europeans first came to Alabama, it looked so very different to how it looks today. Once the early settlers arrived, they cut down the trees and burned off the grass to turn it into farmland. Originally, more than half of the state was covered in grasslands, wetlands, and open, grassy woodlands. Of all the prairie land that were there originally, sadly, only about 1% remains today. Leave it to man. It was Alabama that Rosa Parks started a civil rights movement by refusing to give up her seat to a white man. Good for you, Rosa Parks. Everybody knows about Rosa Parks, or you should. You know, she's referred to the mother of the civil rights movement. But yeah, how brave of her on December 1st, 1955, to just refuse to give up her seat in the colored area to a white man when the white zone seats were filled. Good for her. Number 3, the first Europeans to find Alabama were Spaniards, but it was settled by the French. Alabama has the largest cast iron statue in the world. I did not know that. In 1904, the city of Birmingham, Alabama, constructed a 56-foot or 17-meter statue of the Roman god of fire and forge, Vulcan. I did not know that. If you're from Alabama, you know it. You're like, yeah, I know that, Patrick. Oh, my phone turned off. There we go. My phone turned off. Once completed, the statue was shipped to St. Louis on Birmingham's entry into the 1904 World's Fair. Oh, so it was made for that. The statue was a demonstration of the manufacturing ability of Birmingham area, which everyone agreed must have been pretty incredible, as the statue was awarded a grand prize. That's a major award. Thing is not fragile, that's for sure. The statue of Vulcan now rests in the Vulcan Park and Museum atop a 123-foot or 37-meter pedestal. It weighs an incredible 120,000 pounds, which is 45,359 kilograms, which is the equivalent of 10 elephants. That makes it easier, right? Instead of the pounds, I'm giving you all these facts. You're like, dude, please, easy on all the numbers and the facts. I didn't know there was a test at the end of this podcast. Elephants, 10 elephants. So you can just imagine, it's big. Alabama's first permanent state capital is now a ghost town. After Alabama was admitted into statehood, a site for a state capital had to be chosen. On the 21st of November, 1818, the site of Chihuahua was chosen. The capital was planned out, plots of land were auctioned off, and the town was up and running by 1820. Chihuahua and Alabama's state capital for a very short time, though, from just 1820 to 1825, before it was relocated due to frequent floods. Yeah, we'll cut down all the grasslands and the trees and all those things that make it the earth. The town never really recovered from this, and after another several floods in 1865, right at the end of the Civil War time, a year after that, it was all but abandoned. By 1880, Chihuahua had been removed from the U.S. Census roll. Ghost towns. I've been to a couple, Tombstone is still going, but it was kind of a ghost towny-ish. But I think that'd be kind of like Chernobyl. If you could go there, well, people do go there. I wouldn't, but if you wouldn't suffer from radiation damage, I think it'd be kind of neat to go check that out. The first civilian aviation school in the United States was opened in Alabama. Orville and Wilbur Wright, or more commonly known as the Wright brothers, opened the very first U.S. civil aviation school outside of Montgomery, Alabama. Wow. One of Alabama's nicknames is the Yellowhammer State. Remember I said that? Yellowhammer's Alabama, spit it out, slow down, Patrick. Well, Alabama's state bird is the yellowhammer. This isn't the direct cause of its nickname. The origins are said to lie within the Civil War. Whoa, interesting. A uniform worn by a company of soldiers from Huntsville, Alabama had a yellow trim, and thus they were named Yellowhammers. The nickname caught on and was applied to all soldiers from Alabama and eventually to the state itself. Wow, this one's interesting. Alabama is home to the only bookstore in the world that sells signed copies of books. Wow, isn't that? The first successful heart surgery on a live patient was in Alabama. Alabama is the most religious state in the U.S. The first operational windshield wipers were invented in Alabama. You know, a woman invented the windshield wipers. Not surprising. Women they think differently than men. Mary Anderson, she was an Alabama native, is credited for the invention back in 1903. This was way back in the day when automobiles were starting to really gain some popularity just before the most famous Ford Model T was released. She tried to sell her patent invention to a number of companies, but they rejected the idea as they thought they would be too distracting to drivers. Yeah, not really. Now you don't even notice them. You notice when they're not working. I had a vehicle before that the wiper failed on it, and I was young. I was a kid. I didn't fix it, and I remember it breaking completely. And there was a big rainstorm, and I had a bunch of clothes in my car, and I took a sock and balled it all up and put it on the arm of the wiper so it wouldn't scratch on the window, so I could still use the wiper until I got it fixed. I got it fixed shortly after, so I wasn't driving around with a big sock ball, but I did for that storm. I was thinking, though, I was like, hey, this might work. The first ever submarine to sink an enemy ship was constructed by Confederates in Alabama. And then we're almost done. Sorry if I'm trying not to bore you. I figured, hey, usually we have like 100 facts, and I don't do them, but there wasn't that many on these. So Alabama is home of the longest NASCAR oval in the USA, if not the world. Wow, Talladega. Speaking of, I've told you before about Swigger Speedway. That's a fast track. That's right down the road from me, and I'm really going to this season go check it out. My wife doesn't know this yet, but her and I are going to go, and I know she'll be down for it because she's groovy like that. There is actually, in Alabama, a Sweet Home Alabama. Yeah, if you've ever heard that awesome Sweet Home Alabama song by Leonard Skinner, there's actually a town of that. Wow. We learned a lot today, didn't we, just now? We haven't even dove into the fact site. We'll do that when we come back. Stick around. We'll be right back. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Yeah, free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Listen to this, too. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Check out Anchor.fm today. You can find me at Anchor.fm/WLOAP. Hope to hear from you. Welcome back, my friends. So before we head on to the History Channel, I just wanted to share a little bit. I feel I'm so winded today. It's going to be a long episode. My wife and I went bowling not that long ago, and it was awesome. I hadn't been bowling since a year ago on my birthday, right before the accident. My accident was March 17th. My birthday's March 16th. And my wife and kids surprised me in bringing me to go bowling. There's a bowling alley right down the street from me, right across from the Speedway, which we were just talking about a minute ago. And it was a blast. And I hadn't bowled at that time for years. And you can bowl, though, on Tuesdays at our house, 2 people for only $4.20.
Smoke weed every day.
Nice one. Good one. $4.20. $4.20 for 2 people to bowl, 2 games, 2 pairs of shoes. You can't beat that. You can't beat it. So my wife and I are going to plan on going on Tuesdays and maybe doing that. And it's packed. There's a lot of people, but it's fun. And we got a hold of our kids and asked them if they would like to bring their boyfriends and once a month get together as a family and do something family orientated like that. And they were down. They were down to do something like that. And so that'll be a lot of fun. That's fun to do stuff like that. And my wife and I, we don't have it, like I've said before, like, we don't go play a dart league. We don't go to bars, and we don't go to concerts or anything. Last concert we went to, I think, was Eric Clapton, 2004 in Buffalo. She won tickets to that, so that was groovy. All right, let's learn something. We'll head on over to the History Channel's website and see if we can put another wrinkle on our brain. The show's going pretty long, so I'll try to just skim off some of the facts as not to bore you guys. But on this day in 1953, Watson and Crick discovered chemical structure of DNA. Yeah, that strand, the double helix structure, which has just changed so much of what we know about the human. And pretty interesting. Oops, there we go. See what I mean? We got a cricket out of nowhere, and I didn't even touch anything. How weird. There we go. Sorry about that. I apologize if you had headphones on. I might, maybe I'll buck up. And I did say buck with a B earlier, not F word, which I do swear a lot. This show, though, is, ever since I started We Live on a Planet, I just put it into the non-explicit category. So I've trained my brain now that anytime I push that big scary red button is to watch my language, because if you know me in real life, I tend to swear a lot. So in 2013, Pope Benedict resigns. Remember that? That's like the first time in how long a pope had resigned? I think it was like how many hundreds of years? Wow. 1982, the Getty Museum is endowed. It receives its largest $1.2 billion bequested left from the late Paul Getty. Wow. 1993, I remember this really well. The ATF raids the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas. David Koresh, the cult leader of the Davidians. Yeah, I remember that. That was bad. Sad. There was some ATF officers that were killed that day, and it was all on the news. 1861, Congress creates Colorado Territory. We just learned a little bit about Alabama earlier, about Colorado. And then we had 1983, the final episode of MASH airs. We heard right at the beginning the theme from MASH. That song is actually called Suicide is Painless by Johnny Mandel. And suicide is not painless. Suicide is a permanent solution for a temporary problem. And if you're struggling from anything like that, there's help. There's help out there. You can call the National Suicide Prevention Helpline. That's 1-800-273-8255. Get help, if you need it. And also, if you're struggling with substance abuse or mental health issues and you need services, there's a number for that too. 1-800-662 HELP, which is 4357. Those two numbers can help you. And I bring that up because over 4 years ago, 4 years, 6 months, and 8 days ago, that's 1,653 days I became sober. And I did it because I picked up the phone and called a number. And I thought I was calling AA, and what I was calling was the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Hotline, I believe. I was so drunk, I don't even remember how. It just was fortuitous. I got through to somebody that said, we can help you. And so these two numbers that I gave you can help you. They really can. So don't be afraid to ask for help and pick up. And it's never easy. Nobody ever wants to ask for help. But
You can do it.
all right, thanks for lightening it up. You can do it. Okay, stick around. When we come back, we'll dive into some more stuff and things. It's weird. My phone keeps, since I'm not hanging on to it and using it, the screen keeps dying out on me. So I have to keep putting in my code. So that's why sometimes we're having these long, dramatic pauses. Yep. We'll be right back. Stick around.
Hey Patrick, I see you caught my episode of Storytime about the old Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster a few minutes ago there on Twitter, because I got a little notification that you listened to the episode. Here's my question, brother. What do you have any relationship with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series? Do you have any memories of it? I'm actually reading the very first book right now, the original Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm not reading it, actually. More accurately, I'm listening to the audiobook, as I say on the podcast. But Stephen Fry is reading the first book. I'm on the 19th chapter. And, dude, I got to tell you, the story is hilarious. I'm so glad he made a series out of it, because I can only see it getting better. I love British humor. It's absolutely hilarious. What are your experiences, if any, with that classic series by the great Douglas Adams?
Good morning. Good morning, Patrick. This is Lisa, aka Her Wokeness. Yeah, I'm trying to make my comeback. Health issues galore, I tell you. It's really, really nice to be able to have the time again and the energy again, at least enough to enjoy listening to your podcast and to Maria's podcast. I have to give a listen to and get up to date on as well, ASAP. But thank you so much. Your recent episode that you had some difficulties, it was actually very helpful for me. I'm going through things too, so thank you.
Welcome back. Thank you for calling me, my friends. I really enjoy hearing from my listeners. You can contact me. I'll tell you later on how to do that in the show. Thank you, Lisa and Peter. Peter asking me, Peter, I have heard of the Hitchhiker's Guide in the Galaxy, but I've never seen it. I didn't read it. I feel really like I learned something. Well, not learned, but I feel like I really need to pick it up, because I know it's a sci-fi comedy, and I know it came out 70-ish, 78 or whatever. And then it was turned into a TV show, movie, a play, and now audio, like you're saying. So yeah, I'll have to pick that up. I do have the audiobook app, and I haven't used it that much. I have one that I've listened to that was from Bill Bryson, Guide to Everything, I think is what it is. And then Lisa, thank you for calling. I'm glad that you are able to gain something from this show. And I'm sorry that, you're struggling sometimes, and I can relate to that. I really can. And there's times that it is hard for me when I push this scary red button, because just like right now, how there was feedback, I'm like, oh no, that's bad. Oh, this is all going pear-shaped. But it's like, it's okay. This isn't a perfect world. This podcast is a personal journal for me anyways, to be able to convey my feelings and my thoughts and my ideas. And you just happen to be along there on the ride with me. And so thank you for being on that ride. And I'm glad that you've got back on your podcast horse and you're ready to push that button. Don't be afraid to do it. Do it, and you'll enjoy it. And Maria, yeah, our favorite friend Maria, you're right. She's fun, isn't she? She's talking about Maria Humphreys, who's called into the show. She's a friend of the show. Speaking of calling into the show, like I said, I'll tell you how to do that. That's easy. If you are using the Anchor app, you know how to do it. If you're using another podcast provider, maybe Apple Podcasts, Castbox, or Podchaser, you name it, iHeartRadio, you can be a part of the show too, just by heading on over to my website, WLOAP.com. There's a little phone button. Hit that. It will go right to my phone. It's my personal phone itself. It's not a 1-800 number. It's not nothing like that. And what I'll do is I'll let it go to voicemail. And you can just, if I don't recognize the number, which I won't because I won't know who you are, and I'll let it go to voicemail. And we go from there. And when you're at my website, if for some reason you don't feel like leaving a voicemail, but you do want to be a part of the show and leave me some comments or feedback, there's a way to leave an email too. And also, since we're on this big hole, me telling you about all of these things that would contribute to the show, while you're at it, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave the show a review. It really helps. More reviews on Apple Podcasts, the more people notice the show, and then they can enjoy it just like you are. And that would be groovy to me. So I did a video the other day of this storm that was coming through that I was telling you about. And I put it up on social media, and I tagged the Weather Nation. Weather Nation's a app that's out on TV and other things. And they used my video on TV, and it was cool because one of my nieces had commented, hey, I just saw this video. And I was like, oh, where? Like on Twitter or something? And she goes, no, on Apple TV Plus. It was on TV. And it was just me doing a video of like the storm coming through, and you could see our gong in the back, a hanging gong, and it got caught by the wind, and it was just whipping around and spinning. And they contacted me and said, hey, can we use your video on air with your permission? I said, yeah, absolutely. So that was kind of neat. And then also, I recently did a podcast with my friend Kingfish. You can find that episode. It's TWK, Trucking with Kingfish is the name of it. And we talked about the coronavirus and the impacts of what's going on with the coronavirus. And it was fun. We got our information from the CDC, and we had that app open. We're no health experts by any means, but we just a layman's terms of what we thought might be going on with the coronavirus. And that was fun doing that with Kingfish. And then also, before we wrap up the show, one of my last episodes, not the past one, but one before, when we did This Day in History, one was about how this day in history that a censorship, and I can't remember what year it was, 1980 something, but it was Larry Flynn from Hustler. And I had said, what was the name of that movie that Woody Harrelson was in where he played Larry Flynn? And I couldn't remember. And one of my listeners, a friend of mine that lives out in the desert of Arizona, and an old friend of mine from middle school times who's starting to listen to the show now too. So thank you for that, Matt. He reminded me that that movie, gosh darn it, what is all this feedback? Sorry about that. He reminded me that movie was called The People versus Larry Flint. So thank you for that, because my brain was like, what is that? I know it. All right, thanks so much. I appreciate you guys so much more than I can even tell you. So thanks for sticking around with me, and do your best to stay curious and not judgmental. And I'll put those numbers up that I gave earlier, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline and the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service line. I'll put those in the show link. That way, if you didn't catch it and want those numbers or you want to have them on hand, it's a good idea. Write them down and, put them on the fridge. That way, if you need it or a friend or family member needs it, it's right there on hand and you can share it with them. Help one another today. Move forward with confidence, knowing in the core of your being that you have the power to achieve your dreams. All right, my friends, thanks so much. Peace with you. Peace to you. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.